obviously have really struck a chord with people.
Yeah.
When people walk away from seeing this movie, is there a message? Is there something you hope that they take away from the experience of seeing it?
I just think the world would be a better place if there were more people like Charlie, who is so compassionate and empathetic and non-judgmental and accepting. And everyone has a story. People tend to judge and interpret behavior without going to the source of that behavior. Like, they say that every saint, has a past and every sinner has a future. And it's so true. You can't, I don't know, people can change and people make mistakes and people are human, and you kind of need to love them for that. And I hope that people take that away, finding a way to love their imperfections and love themselves. And really, you can't truly accept other people until you accept yourself, and you can't really accept yourself until you accept other people. It kind of all weirdly goes hand in hand. And when you show kindness and compassion for yourself, then you're able to extend it, and it's all inextricably linked. So I think it would be that.
And last question here. The film just premiered at the Toronto Film Festival.
Yes.
That's, a very prestigious film festival. What was the experience of that like for you? What did you sort of take away from that experience?
I wasn't sure if it was going to be a movie that would be for like a cult group of kids that would love this movie and they loved the book or whatever. But what I took away from the film festival was actually that, like, David Letterman said that it melted his heart. My dad loved this movie. A ton of like very serious critics couldn't help but say, I really connected to this movie, it made me cry or whatever else. And it's kind of what it's made me realize that this movie has a much wider audience than I almost anticipated at the beginning. It's kind of like reaching out to all ages and demographics, and there's something very transcendent about the message of this story that goes beyond the time and the place and the age of the people who are in it.
I think it's still very relevant today, and the high school experience in this
Yeah,
movie.
it's funny because, I think my generation feel that with Twitter and social networking, and they think everything's changed and everything's so different, and it's very easy to feel very alone and very misunderstood. And actually, I think what this movie shows is that it's the same issues, it's the same stuff. It's just playing out in different forums and in different ways and through different media, but it's all the same stuff, really. Which I think is kind of interesting. And I think the movie, because it's set, 1991, let's say, like early 90s, late 80s, it gives us, it suddenly gave me enough distance watching it that I didn't feel like someone was trying to be me, or like trying to be me and my friends, which felt kind of like awkward and not really right, but also close enough that I felt like it was really speaking to me. So I think that's kind of it's a nice throwback when there weren't iPhones and Twitter and tons of social media, and it's kind of like a nice, I don't know, back to, I want to say a slightly simpler time, but there's no such thing. But I think it's nice that it's set. And it also introduces people to a whole new soundtrack for their lives. I mean, that's one of the things that I keep getting told about this movie is like, oh, like such great bands, such great music, and people are discovering the Smiths again, and David Bowie, and the Cocteau Twins, and like, it's really, I think there's going to be a renaissance of the music of that time, which is awesome.